In this video, you will be learning about what life would have been like during the war for the soldier's family, what life would have been like before, during, and after the war for the soldier himself. Collins R. Griswold was born in Vermont in the year of 1841. All grown up, Collins got married to Lucina. With her, he had one son, Merritt. Later on, Collins got married again to Etta Kingsbury and had 2 children. Each child died at a young age. Many young and middle-aged men had joined the army to fight in the Civil War. Some teenagers, around the age of 16 or 17, would lie about their age to go and fight in the war. At the young and real age of 22 years, Collins Griswold mustered into the war on December 29, 1863. The picture shown here, or painting, is believed to be a painting of the Battle of Gettysburg, or an interpretation of what it may have looked like. During the war, the only way soldiers could communicate with family and friends back home was by letters. Soldiers didn't have much free time to write but when they were sleeping. This is when they could read letters written to them and write back. A common topic in letters would be weather and the family themselves. In order to send these letters home, family and friends back home had to send stamps to the soldier, presumably along with their letter. Some letters would arrive in bunches, weeks after being sent to the family or to the soldier. Lord Kingsbury had expressed in one letter how he was upset that he got 3 letters at once. The mail system may have been backed up, but who knows if that was really the answer. Not only was the mail system back then sketchy, but also it just may have been slow. Although I don't actually know if Griswold wrote to his family, one can only assume he did write home. I don't necessarily know who he wrote to, whether it was his wife and child or his actual family. I would believe his wife and child. But with the information given and found, I was assuming that he wrote to his wife Lucina and son Merritt. Back home while Collins was away, his son would have most likely attended school. School back then was taught by one teacher in one room. The room would be divided into 2 or 3 categories: rich, poor, and age. The older kids would sit on one side of the room, and younger kids on the other side. The kids with less money would sit on one side, and the richer kids on the other. This is how Collins' son would attend school, assuming he went to school. School, like letters, could also be used as a form of communication. Kids with family in the war could pass along information to other kids so they could share with their families. But it wasn't all just among kids. Information about the war and from soldiers in the war could be passed from family member to family member, neighbor to neighbor, through newspapers and letters. Since Londonderry wasn't such a big population, information about the war could be spread on to towns like Jamaica and Mooresboro. Although many died during battle, many returned home to their families. They may have been very ill, hurt, or just fine. Griswold returned to his home after being wounded during the Yellow Wilderness and being transferred from U.S. sharpshooter to the 4th Vermont Infantry. After he returned home, he eventually married for the 2nd time and had 2 other children, of which both died at very young ages. Griswold eventually died in 1920, and his second wife, Etta, 24 years later. Thank you for watching my presentation on the Civil War and my Civil War soldier, Collins R. Griswold.